As time progresses, we find ourselves constantly making new technologies for the benefit of all. Some technologies geared towards convenience, some others towards our entertainment. However, no technology ever invented is quite as impeccable as the brain. Just as Apple is constantly creating new iPhones with better and more cameras, scientists across the globe are working hard to study the brain in the hopes that we may be able to reverse engineer it and utilize its amazing power. Reverse engineering the brain is one challenge that requires thinking on multiple different levels. We want to know how and why the brain functions and fails in the way that it does. Understanding the brain in its abstract form will allow engineers to initiate certain neurological effects and be able to comprehend its capabilities at a deeper and more advanced level. This will then lead to more accurate ways to carry out trials that will then test prospective biotechnological solutions for brain disorders. So when grandma starts forgetting the little things like where she put her keys or the fact that she has a daughter, scientists will be able to fix that right up. Being able to reverse engineer the brain can lead to unimaginable possibilities. Artificial intelligence is the future, and our brain is the key to improving AI. Improved AI will allow your smartphone to better recognize your face, or Siri to better recognize your voice, so that she and Alexa gain the self-awareness to beat you up in a dark alleyway. Smarter AI will prevent cyber attacks, as computers will be able to identify problems and how to deal with them quicker. They'll make automatic vehicles better, making traveling much safer and more relaxing for the passengers. AI was designed to make life easier for mankind. With a human-like brain, AI will be able to serve mankind and then eventually take it over. I wonder what will kill us first, the robots or climate change. However, reverse engineering the brain isn't something we can do with our current knowledge and understanding of it, nor is it something we can do with our best current technology. Our brain runs on thousands of times less power than our best supercomputers, and yet our supercomputers can hardly do a fraction of what the human brain can. Additionally, the standard supercomputer simply isn't equipped to mimic the brain. While our computers work in ones and zeros or in on and off, our brain have varying levels of stimulation, and the connections in the brain are much more complex than those of a computer's. That's like the difference in dry spaghetti versus wet spaghetti. Dry spaghetti is linear, easier to follow. Wet cooked spaghetti is in all tangles and just a huge mess. Because of issues like these, the potential solutions to reverse engineering the brain are merely theoretical at this point. But let's assume that we will eventually have the technology to be able to reverse engineer the brain. First, we'll need to be able to fully map out the entire brain down to each individual molecule. There are substances smaller than brain cells that can affect the brain's processes, so no shortcuts could be made. Next, we would have to be able to identify the function of each part of the brain and identify how it works in tandem with other parts of the brain, and scientists must be able to agree on these aspects of the brain in order for us to all move forward. We must be able to point at a very specific, tiny part of the brain and say, "Oh yes, I see, that's brain particle number 32 million, very important." After agreement, we can begin to understand how each part of the brain reacts to different stimuli. We can't do this with deceased brains, so we must be able to create the technology to actively monitor every little change in the living brain that sends signals instantaneously. We must then rerun stimuli tests over and over with a large multitude of brains. Everyone's brain is wired a little differently, no two brains will be exactly alike, so to reverse engineer the brain, we must be able to predict how different people's brains will react to the same things. And possibly even further, we must understand why it is that people's brains are different in the first place. For example, why some people don't like pineapple on pizza, and why everyone else is really gross. Once we can answer all these questions and more, we will have the ability to reverse engineer the brain, simulate the brain, aid disabled brains, and predict them as well. It will be only a matter of applying our knowledge so that we may advance our AI, improve our medicines, and live more comfortably as a whole. The only thing left to answer is, what will happen first, climate change killing us all, or figuring out the brain? Back to the Future 2 thought that by 2015 we would have flying cars, when in reality we have refrigerators that let you tweet from them. So it could take a while.